Hello everyone, and welcome to my Nick Podcast. I'm your host, and I'll be sharing short English stories and conversations with you every day. Today's episode is A Love in the Shadows of Fashion. In the text level S4, learn about doing actions and talking about doing actions, how to tell someone else words and asking little questions at the end of a sentence. Stick around till the end for 5 quick questions to test your understanding. Alright then, let's get listening.
A Love in the Shadows of Fashion. It was the year 1852, and the city of Paris was abuzz with the opening of Le Bon Marché, the first ready-to-wear fashion store. Amidst the excitement, a young seamstress named Sophie found herself working long hours to keep up with the demand for fashionable garments. One day, while delivering a batch of dresses to the store, Sophie caught the eye of its owner, Monsieur Balthazar. He was taken by her skill and dedication to her craft, and soon, he began to take notice of her in ways that went beyond just business. As they worked together, Sophie and Monsieur Balthazar found themselves drawn to each other, despite the societal norms that dictated their roles. They would steal glances at each other during meetings, and Sophie would catch herself dreaming of a life where she could be more than just a seamstress. But their love was not without its challenges. The fashion world was not kind to those who broke with tradition, and Sophie knew that if their relationship was discovered, it could mean ruin for both of them.
Now, let's move on to the conversation between Billy, Meg, Kelly, and their teacher, Louis, after reading the novel.
I loved how Sophie's character was so brave to be in love with Monsieur Balthazar, even though it was forbidden.
I think the author did a great job of showing how much they cared for each other, despite the societal norms against them.
Yeah, and I loved how Sophie's passion for sewing helped her to be more confident in herself and her relationship with Monsieur Balthazar.
As an educator, I think this novel is a great example of how literature can help students understand the complexities of history and social norms. I never thought about it that way, Leah, but now that you mention it, it makes sense why the author would write about this time period.
I think what I loved most about the novel was how Sophie's character grew and changed throughout the story. She became more confident in herself and her abilities.
Yeah, and I think that's something we can all learn from, being true to ourselves and our passions, even if they're not traditionally feminine or whatever.
Well said, Billy, and I think it's also important to remember that history is complex and multifaceted, and there are always multiple perspectives to consider. I never thought about it that way, but now that you mention it, it makes sense why the author would write about this time period in such a way.
Now, let's test your understanding of the novel and the dialogue with 5 questions. Question 1. Who was Sophie's employer in the story? A. Monsieur Balthazar. B. A seamstress named Madame Dupont. C. Carrie. D. Meg. E. Billy. The answer is A. Monsieur Balthazar. Question 2. What kind of store did Monsieur Balthazar own? A. A restaurant. B. A bookstore. C. Le Bon Marché, the first ready-to-wear fashion store. D. A library. E. An art gallery. The answer is C. Le Bon Marché, the first ready-to-wear fashion store. Question 3. What was Sophie's profession in the story? A. A seamstress. B. A teacher. C. A shopkeeper. D. A librarian. E. A musician. The answer is A. A seamstress. Question 4. Who found themselves drawn to each other in the story? A. Sophie and Carrie. B. Monsieur Balthazar and Meg. C. Sophie and Monsieur Balthazar. D. Billy and Lou. E. Carrie and Billy. The answer is C. Sophie and Monsieur Balthazar. Question 5. What was the challenge for Sophie and Monsieur Balthazar's relationship? A. Their different professions. B. Their lack of money. C. The societal norms against them. D. Their different hobbies. E. Their different ages. The answer is C. The societal norms against them. That's it for today's quiz. How many did you answer correctly? Thanks for tuning in to my channel today. I hope you enjoyed the stories and conversations and found the quiz challenging yet fun. Don't forget to subscribe or follow us for more daily English learning content. Until next time, keep practicing your English and have a wonderful day.